American voters can be an odd bunch. On the right, racism is what still drives many common class voters by its political motives. Many Republican voters who weren't racist abandoned the party during the Tea Party era. In a sense, what remains of the party is still fighting for the 50 acres and second-class citizenship that was offered to their ancestors shortly after Bacon's rebellion. It isn't really surprising to hear them chanting, "You will not replace us," while marching down the street with tiki torches, almost casting an eerie image of the old night riders, minus the horses, of course. So even today, in their view, a promise was made, and that promise should be honored. Also in their view, as I've stated in a previous video, they're still holding up their end of the bargain as America's yeoman class by constantly policing even the most mundane activities of black people. It has become the norm to see stories of whites calling the police on blacks for working, relaxing, exercising, grilling, going home, entering a nice apartment building, sitting in the car, etc. Some cities have actually had to pass laws making it illegal to call the police when clearly no laws have been broken. But one thing I must give to extreme right-wing Republican voters in America is, if their representatives bend even ever so slightly to the left or does anything outside of their perverted and self-destructive political ideology, they will bring hell and fury upon them. Absolutely no one is immune to their fury. This is why elites of both parties are extremely terrified of the right. Once the extremist Koch-funded right-wing media apparatuses give the orders of attack, there is no going back. Republican politicians spend much of their time walking on eggshells, trying hard to court the right and prove their extremist, many times racist credentials and ability to demonstrate high levels of political absurdity. The tragic thing is, Democrats, who are supposed to represent the left, supposedly, does the exact same thing. While you will certainly never see a Republican openly expressing a desire to appeal to leftists, it is sadly not uncommon to see establishment Democrats attempting to court and pull in some right-wing voters.
For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA, we will pick up 2, 3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin. The voters who are most out there figuring out what to do are not the blue-collar Democrats. They are the college-educated Republicans who lean Republican or independent and in the suburbs.
The truth is, the American government is simply more comfortable with right-wing ideology because it doesn't typically stand between the powerful and their agenda to make profits at all costs, especially war profiteering. However, there was that one time when the right actually did join the left to stop a war. But unfortunately, their motives weren't the same as ours on the left, because what bothered them most had nothing to do with the immoralities of American imperialism. It was more the fact that the president leading the charge for that immoral war was black. That bothered them more than anything. But the Democrats just continued to perform all sorts of cartwheels and backflips in their attempt to attract Republican voters. The bizarre thing is, as much as Democrat voters claim to hate Republicans because they believe they're all extreme racists and openly panders to an assortment of racist organizations, they don't seem to get too angry when they see their beloved leaders in the Democratic Party pandering to a group that should be considered the enemy.
We need a Republican Party. We need an opposition that's principled and strong. We need a Republican Party. We need an opposition that's principled and strong. We need a Republican Party. We need an opposition that's principled and strong.
The quest to avoid anything truly progressive has exposed the Democrats to be highly corrupt. Due to progressive policies being so popular among common class Americans, Democrats have often found themselves having to openly rig their own primary elections in order to win. The hilarious thing is, these are the same people constantly claiming our elections are being rigged by Russia, while simultaneously ignoring their own internal corruption. One of the most infuriating things is listening to the top Democrats talk about progressives as if we're in the same family. Like they think just like we do, it's just that they're more pragmatic than we are. The simple truth is that the Democrats in a sane world would actually be America's conservative party, and the Republicans wouldn't even be considered an option. Most Americans believing that Democrats are leftists only helps to support the Republican Party as they try to present themselves as a viable option. We're now living in such bizarre times that now, if you know what's going on in the world around you and you know about officials and their corruption, you can now be made fun of. You can now be labeled woke.
But I do get a sense sometimes now among certain young people, and this is accelerated by social media, there is this sense sometimes of the way of me making change is to be as judgmental as possible about other people. And that's enough. Like if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, or then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself. Because, man, you see how woke I was? I called you out. I'm going to get on TV, watch my show, watch Grownish. You know, that's not activism. That's not bringing about change. You know, if all you're doing is casting stones, you know, you're probably not going to get that far. That's easy to do.
Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up right here. Part 4 of the series will be out soon. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, as always, stay safe.